Jobs once made another, I was always selling something. Sorry, I'm not interested. What can you give me? I want to tell you a funny story that you guys are here as a smart, educated, and thoughtful audience. And I mean, okay. Hey everyone, great to see you on the channel again, and today we continue talking about Steve Jobs and Apple that we started last week. Steve used to say that concentration matters. Choose one product that is going to get you profit as fast as possible and don't scatter your energy in multiple directions. Let me say that again, concentration matters. But what I want to point out is that this doesn't always work. I mean, you should certainly define one product, get it to perfection, and sell it, and it's better be a product that is going to be the most profitable in minimum possible time, yes. But at the same time, there are situations when you put your product on the market and it's not unique, just like it was in case of Apple, or when your competitors are already strong. Let's take my industry, for example, the cashback service industry. You can say that it's just another cashback service and no one needs it. I mean, there are more than 200 of them in the world right now. That's why, being not the first one to launch, I clearly understand that we should give the market the most usable system. In our case, the most user-friendly and profitable system for saving on purchases in the world. And that's why now on our platform we have online store cashback, offline store cashback with just a barcode that you show on your phone. Then we have free promotional codes, coupons, parcel tracking for any postal services right on our website. And soon we're going to introduce 2 more functions that no one in the world has, and that will make our platform the most convenient and the most profitable for saving on any purchases, both online and offline. And therefore, focusing on one function is surely important, but this rule is highly dependent on the market situation. If you enter with a unique product, then yes, don't make 10 of them. Make one, a bestseller product like the iPhone, and then expand the product line, start producing MacBooks, and so on. If you're not the first one on the market, then your product definitely has to be special. You gotta offer the market something that makes your product or service or app different from others and that makes it the best. But of course, even in that case, concentration is important. You shouldn't scatter your resource to 10 or 20 or 30 directions. Instead, determine the primary directions that are going to bring the biggest money in the shortest possible period of time and act on them. Another rule of Apple sounds like this: create not only products but also a service. I mean, Apple has created not only the MacBook, the iMac as a home computer solution, not only the iPhone, the iPod player, the iPad, but Apple has also created iTunes and also iBooks, where you can download books or you can sell your own books. And of course, the App Store, where you can download apps for your phone or your computer. Apple has created not only products like tangible hardware solutions, but also a full eco-environment where you can use those products, update software, install new apps, play games, and fill them with any content that you like. But at the same time, they even went a few steps ahead of that. They let us not only consume their content, download these apps, but they also let us build our own apps, which basically spawned a new niche on the market. Many app and game developers, like creators of Angry Birds, got crazy rich as a result of that. And so what the Apple company did there is they created not only products but also a service around them. A closed eco environment where an Apple user can basically satisfy all their needs within that framework without having to turn to any third-party platforms for anything. And that's exactly what makes Apple so powerful as a company: the ability to guess trends. In my work, I also got to realize this a long time ago. I call it linking all of my products together in a loop. For example, at secretdiscounter.com, we not only have the cashback service itself that helps you to save money on any purchases, but also free promotional codes, parcel tracking websites, our blogs about shopping, our ratings of cashback services, where we are the top 1 service, of course, and so on. And all of them are inside one loop. They're all linked together. They all refer to one another with hyperlinks. And so when a client interacts with one of the products, they get into a loop where they interact with all of our products and start using them, not even knowing that all of them belong to the same company. So not only do you have to create a product and, as Steve said, create a service around it, it's even better to create a closed environment just like Apple did. They created a separate eco-environment so that the customers won't turn to anything outside of their company and not bring money to any of their competitors and bring it to them instead. So I call it linking my products together in a loop. The next Apple rule sounds like good clothes open all doors, which means that the packaging of your product, the design of your website or landing page, your business card, and so on should be perfect and set the tone for the product. Basically, we all know that first impression matters a lot, and we can also apply this to any products or services on the internet, apps, and so on. If the consumer doesn't like how it looks, if you failed to make a great first impression on them, then you might not get a second chance. So therefore, the packaging of your product or the main page of your website must be perfectly polished. They should show that you are offering a perfect product, a perfect website, and so on. So let's remember that the saying "good clothes open all doors" is relevant not only for meetings between people, but also for creating products and services. Also, the Apple company follows a rule that the first product launch event must be at the largest scale possible. Remember Apple's famous presentation events with thousands of people where they gather the best journalists and top bloggers from all over the world and so on. They always announce their products as loud as possible. Remember the legendary Apple events where Steve appeared on stage wearing his signature black sweatshirt and blue jeans, and he makes a show from a few keynote slides announcing a new product that everyone in the audience stands up for a 30-minute round of applause. And then the event gets on every tech blog in the world, every website, magazine, or newspaper. If we transpose that to our reality, then as soon as you have created an excellent product or service, you should loudly announce it through 5 top media of your country. If we're talking about Belarus, for instance, our service was featured on tut.by, which is the main news portal of the country, and other ones getting about 5 million visitors reach in total. I'll tell you from my personal experience that it makes no sense to spend a lot of money. We get a lot of offers from all sorts of portals where they have from 100,000 to 1 million visitors per month. Every day they offer to advertise us for $150 to write an article about us or place a native ad. But I want to say that this doesn't have any impact. If you want to spend money and declare yourself on the largest possible scale, then you need to choose the top 5 or top 10 media of your country and don't spend money on smaller players in the game. That means if you have created an excellent product, you launched it, advertised it on something like Forbes. Forbes generally doesn't do native ad articles, but still. And so you do that and enjoy it, reap the rewards. I absolutely agree that the first launch of your product should be with maximum scale. Also, despite the fact that Steve Jobs was a big manipulator and a rather unpleasant person for many people in general, he always achieved what he wanted. Sometimes through humiliating his employees and manipulation, he felt human nature on a very subtle level because of his inborn gift of empathy. He could both humiliate and then encourage you, elevate you so much that you become his best and most loyal employee, and you idolized him for that. But Steve motivated employees mainly by presenting a problem that each specific person was working on at a specific position in a global meaning. If we take the simplest example, how do you make a person stop throwing away food, for instance? You tell them that 20,000 people in the world die of hunger every day. Many people are shocked by that number. And so they start to think to themselves like 20,000 people dying of hunger. So it makes no sense to throw away food, and it's just not fair. And if we're talking business context, for example, you can tell your employee that his work will make the lives of 3,000 people easier, for instance. Or it will help to save your clients a certain sum of money. And if you multiply that by the number of employees, The huge number that you will get is going to impress any of your employees, and they will feel great being a part of a big and global goal, and they will feel their importance, and they will do their job better, including extra hours and so on. Every employee of the company should feel like they're a part of some global game, not just a small underling, but someone who actually has some impact on the highest possible number of people out there. Also, for company management, Jobs used a rule that all the employees and departments of Apple were supposed to work in close connection with one another on all of the company products. First of all, because the communication between the employees of different departments sometimes leads to some great unexpected ideas that sometimes come from arguments. So that allows new excellent ideas to come through, and from arguments emerge new solutions for current products, websites, etc. That's why the communication between the employees of different departments only makes your company better. That also means that your marketing advertising agency, well, if we're talking big companies and you have a marketing agency, they should of course be present in the process of development of your product or service, because that will give them the opportunity to fill the philosophy and the tone of the product in general, and later on advertise your product to potential clients more effectively, more creatively, and more precisely. Jobs once made another interesting conclusion. To provoke the communication between the employees of different departments between each other, he started to design the company offices. Of course, at first Apple didn't have their own offices, they rented office buildings. But when Steve started to build their own offices during the last years of his life, especially the headquarters of Apple, he designed buildings shaped like a star or a flower, if you will, with petals coming from the center of it. And because all the rooms for massive audiences were concentrated in the center, all the employees' mailboxes were there as well. Food courts, conference rooms, all those were located in the center. And so, in order to, for example, organize a meeting or have lunch, the employees from all the departments had to go to the center. And so basically everything was designed in the way that all the employees got to see each other during lunch, and they would have conversations and come up with new ideas that helped to bring Apple even more profit. Also, in the process of managing the company, Steve almost had like a mania of always keeping the company at the highest level, hiring only the best employees. Inside of Apple, they were called Class A employees. So for our context, it means that if you hire someone, hire only the best. Once every half a year, Apple had a tradition to send the employees to a nearest resort. It doesn't have to be too far away, like Thailand, for instance. The nearest resort works just fine because that helps them to have some rest in a relaxed environment. And again, workers from different departments meet there and might come up with a new idea and just be grateful to the company that it gives them this opportunity to have some rest, not just exploits them. And of course, all of that should be financially covered by the company. And probably the last rule of Steve Jobs is you should genuinely love what you do. If you're starting out as an entrepreneur and you're not sure what you're supposed to be doing, then analyze everything you did before the age of 20 and you'll see, first, what you were really good at, that is what brought you money, and second, you'll understand what you like. Because I truly believe that you shouldn't be doing something just for money. Anything that you do must bring you pleasure. In that case, your job won't feel like hard labor or something. In that case, every day will feel like a day off because you're doing what you love. I mean, I could go into oil business or crypto just to earn money, but I'm not into that, and I am doing what I really like right now. But how did I get to this point? When I had a lot of free time, I analyzed everything I did in life before the age of 20 or so, and I saw that I was always selling something. I was flipping something, to be more exact. To get into more detail, first of all, the stuff that I was selling wasn't mine. I didn't produce or create it. Secondly, those products were quite rare and hard to get, so they were easy to sell. And thirdly, all of those products were a high-margin commodities, so reselling them, I earned times, multiple times more than the manufacturers or producers of them. The moment that I analyzed that, I realized I was a very effective middleman. I was great at selling someone else's products, but only those of highest quality, so I'd never feel ashamed before my buyers. This is exactly why I'm in cashback service game. It's basically being a middleman between many online stores with good reputation and the end client. Basically, what we're doing is we're getting our commission and sharing it with you. And I truly believe and feel that this is what I'm really supposed to be doing, and that's how you can answer the popular question of how to find your niche. But I think we'll discuss finding your niche and coming up with the right business and so on in later videos, as it's a very compelling topic and it deserves a full video. And finally, one more thing, I want to add something from my own perspective that I came to realize during the latest years in business. And of course, we had made a lot of mistakes just like everyone else and so on. So I follow this Telegram channel called The Dark Side by Arkady Moranis. Arkady was one of the founders of Price.ru. When he once realized that paper catalogs of products and services are becoming obsolete, he started making an electronic catalog called Price.ru. Then he was head of a search engine called Rambler and so on. But in my opinion, nobody knows more about startups, investments, and so on in Russia than Arkady, and I'm happy to know him personally. Maybe he will be a guest on our show later on. And so, going through his channel, I realized that probably the main thing in business is, first of all, creating your website or a service or an app. We must start with basic functions and not special features. So what is the difference? A function is something that is going to give your client some benefit like savings or profit, like in the case of Henry Ford and a car instead of a horse. And so in this example, the car is the primary function. And the special feature in this example is what kind of leather will be on the steering wheel, whether it's going to have automatic or manual transmission, and so on. And so whatever startup or app you're developing, you should start with the functions. Those functions that will give your client some global advantage and will bring fast money to you. And only then it's time to add and polish some features that will, for instance, make the UI better, will make it more pleasing to the eye, make user experience better, and so on. And that's why the most important rule in business that I articulated for myself is first you make functions, then special features. And it's crucial to separate one from another, because sometimes in the beginning of a project, many businessmen have like around 200 or 300 ideas in their head, or maybe even more. I'm not trying to guess the number. And the most important thing is to choose some of them, say like top 5 of them that are vital for our service to launch, and those top 5 that will bring us the most profit as fast as possible. So learn to separate functions from special features. That's, I guess, the #1 business advice from Arkady Moranis and me personally that I use in my work. I guess we can also apply the Pareto principle to it, that says that 20% of functions, effort, or time will bring you 80% of result. And I guess it works for virtually any field, this 20 to 80 principle. So determine the 20% of actions that will turn into 80% of result and execute on those actions. Also, I want to tell you a funny story that happened to me. So I was talking to an owner of one rather popular YouTube channel. And so I was like, how about maybe filming an interview for your channel? And she was like, if you offered me that in 2012, then I would be into it because that would bring me some massive reach and so on. But as of now, sorry, I'm not interested. And I mean, okay. I wasn't imposing or anything. That was just an offer as I felt like it was relevant for her audience to film a long, informative interview touching upon various topics. No means no, I get it. But you see, the perspective was like, what can you give me? Like, can you bring me publicity, new subscribers, advertisers, and money as a result? So I think that's a little wrong, because we as bloggers should make content for the subscribers first, for those who follow us. And that's why I really appreciate that you guys are here as a smart, educated, and thoughtful audience. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video till the end. Just as always, share this video with your friends. Let there be more entrepreneurs around the world. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.